Hey everyone, good afternoon. It's been a while. It's been about 2 weeks since I've been on last. Last time I was on was June 3rd, so a little over 2 weeks ago. Today's June 18th. I hope everyone's been doing well since then. I've tried to pace this stuff out a little bit, just because it's the same stuff I was talking about last time. Basketball, hockey, some NASCAR, and then some wrestling as well, which I'll get to here in a bit. But first, before I move on, make sure you like us on Facebook if you haven't already. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ATGL16. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and email us at acrossthegoalline2016@gmail.com if you have any questions or concerns about any topics that either I or Cory talk about. So I'm Luke Godissart if you haven't, if you didn't know that already, and this is Across the Goal Line. As I said, some of the same stuff I talked about a little over 2 weeks ago. Some NASCAR, some hockey, and some basketball. You have the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs going on. You also have the NBA Finals going on. The college baseball and softball World Series. College baseball is currently going on, and the college softball World Series finished up a little less than 2 weeks ago, a couple days after the last time I was on, and that saw Oklahoma sweep Florida. I'll get to that here. I'll get to that here in a minute because I want to talk about Oklahoma for a tad second about Bob Stoops, but I'll get to that here when I do. But NASCAR, Dover, Pocono. I really didn't do a preview for the Pocono race last week that I actually went to. I finally went to a NASCAR race. If you didn't see that on our social media pages, that's why. If you didn't see them on our social media pages, and the main reason why you probably didn't see it is because you didn't like or follow us yet. So be sure to do that, as I said at the beginning of the show. It'd be greatly appreciated. Today's question of the day, too, by the way, before I forget. WWE Money in the Bank is later tonight from St. Louis, Missouri. I'll get into my predictions in part 2 of this episode. I'll cut this and then start a new one to do my predictions for that. I'll also review WWE Extreme Rules because I didn't do that yet either. But question of the day before I forget. WWE Money in the Bank ladder match for the WWE Money in the Bank briefcase that you can cash in within the next year. Whoever wins that will be able to cash that in for a championship match anytime, anywhere. So let us know, or let me know who you think is going to win that. Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Baron Corbin, and Dolph Ziggler are the six competitors in that ladder match later tonight. WWE Money in the Bank starts at 8 o'clock on the WWE Network, so be sure to tune in. I know I will be. Currently, I'm watching the NASCAR race, which is from Brooklyn, Michigan, this week. As I said last week, they're at Pocono, and the week before they're in Dover. I'm not going to do a preview for the Michigan race, because it's going on right now. But I'm going to try to sneak in some updates as the race is going on while I am on doing this live episode of Across the Goal Line. So stick with me. So I'm going to try to do that whenever the time's right. The race hasn't even started yet. They just got done doing the national anthem and driver introductions and drivers start your engines, all the whole 9 yards for that. But 2 weeks ago, Dover, Kyle Larson, he came close to winning, sweeping the 2 races at Dover 2 weeks ago. He won the Xfinity race, but he came up short, finished second again for the, I don't know how many times this year. It seems like he's finished second a lot this year. But Jimmy Johnson ended up winning at Dover. He was the first driver to win 3 races this year. It was his 83rd win, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at my notes here. Yeah, it was his 83rd win, all time, which tied Cal Yarbrough, and now he is 6th all time in career victories. As I said, third win this year, first driver to win 3 races this year so far. And the reason why Kyle Larson didn't pull it out in the end Dover 2 weeks ago, there was a wreck on the last lap, the restart for overtime, and it happened after the leader, who was Jimmy Johnson, already had passed the start-finish line. So Kyle Larson kind of got screwed over, I thought. He's actually on the pole today for the Michigan race, which I said I'll try to give some updates while I'm on here. As soon as the race starts, hopefully it'll be starting here soon. It's supposed to start at 3 o'clock. It is currently a quarter after 3 on Sunday, June 18th, 2017. But so with the win, Jimmy Johnson tied Cal Yarbrough, as I said. And then this past weekend, last Sunday actually, they went to Pocono, in Pocono Mountains in Blakesley, Pennsylvania. About 2.5, 3 hour drive from Clearfield, where I am located at. And as I said before, I've been trying to go to a NASCAR race for quite some time. Just never have, but I finally did last week. It was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. I will go back to a NASCAR race sometime in the near future. Hopefully, wherever and whenever the case may be, I'll hopefully go. And if you haven't been to a NASCAR race before, I highly suggest going. It was, as I said, it was a fun experience, and I'd go back in a heartbeat. So, Jimmy Johnson, he was doing real well at Pocono last week, and then he spun out, wrecked hard into the wall on lap 97, 3 laps before the end of stage 2, which really sucked, because they were almost at the end of stage 2, and he had to crash and ended up being out for the rest of the race. Then 3 of the 4 Hendrick drivers as well wrecked or blew engines and did not finish the race. Chase Elliott was the only driver to finish the race last weekend at Pocono. That was won by Ryan Blaney, who was near the top of most of the race, but Kyle Busch was the main dominant driver last week at Pocono. He led a lot of laps. I'm not certain on how many, but he was out in front for most of the race, but then got passed by Ryan Blaney with about 10 laps to go, and then he held off Kevin Harvick as well. Harvick came close and almost passed him. I believe Blaney won by like 1/10 of a second. So it was really close. It was really fun, exciting ending. That, with the race only having 3 cautions, made the race a whole lot better with that fun ending. So I got my pick wrong last week as well. I picked Dale Jr. As I said, I didn't make a predictions video for that race because it really wasn't worth it. But I picked Dale Jr. And you guys would have known that if you follow me or us on Twitter at ATGL16, because I put it out on there. So if you haven't followed us on Twitter or all our other social media pages, go do that right now. But I got that wrong. I think I've got 1 or 2, maybe 3 races right this year. I don't know. I said before, I'm not really keeping track, but it's because it's not really a big deal. But anyways, Ryan Blaney won, first career win in his young career. The first time the Woods brothers have gotten a car to drive to victory lane since the Daytona 500 back in 2011. That was drove by Trevor Bayne, who currently drives the number 6 Advocare car. So, as I said, they're at Michigan today. I'm not doing a preview because the race is currently on. That's what I'm watching at the moment. It's finally about to start. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'm going to try to give some updates as the race goes on. So moving on now, I said a couple minutes ago, college softball and baseball World Series are either going on or they ended. Softball ended, baseball is currently going on. Louisville and Texas A&M are currently playing over on ESPN2, or ESPN, excuse me, right now. And then 2 other teams, I'll get to that here in a minute. I can't remember them off the top of my head. They play later tonight at 7 o'clock. So, as I said, Oklahoma swept Florida 2-0 in the college softball World Series a little less than 2 weeks ago. But the main thing I want to talk about with Oklahoma is Bob Stoops, the longtime head coach. He was the longest reigning head coach, longest active head coach in college football. Kirk Ferentz has that job title now. He's the current head coach for the Iowa Hawkeyes. But Bob Stoops stepped down on June 5th. I thought it was a little fishy. He was there for 18 years, and just all of a sudden, on June 5th, of all months, June, he steps down and goes into retirement. There were some reports that he wanted to get away because he's currently 56 years old, I believe, and his dad passed away back in the day at the age of 54 of a sudden heart attack. So that could have something to do with it. But the main thing I think that I'm thinking happened was Oklahoma forced him out. Lincoln Riley, the offensive coordinator, former offensive coordinator for Oklahoma, who got promoted to be the head coach, just didn't seem right. I think Oklahoma was probably worried Riley would leave to go get a head coaching job elsewhere, so they just gave Stoops the door and promoted Riley from offensive coordinator to head coach before he left to go elsewhere. But I don't think this is the last time you'll be seeing Bob Stoops as a head coach, whether it's in the college game or the NFL game. So keep an eye out for that. I think he'll be at the earliest 2018 season, wherever it may be. I think Bob Stoops will be roaming the sidelines again for a new team, obviously, because he's not going to go back to Oklahoma now. I saw he sold his house in Norman and bought a house in Chicago, so maybe there's reports he'd be going to be the new head coach of the Chicago Bears as early as next year, but we'll have to see about that. Only time will tell. And then, as I said, College Baseball World Series is going on as we speak. 2 games yesterday. Oregon State, defeated Cal State Fullerton by a score of 6-5, and Florida State lost to LSU 5-4. And then Texas A&M and Louisville are currently playing over on ESPN. And then Florida and TCU, those are the 2 teams that I couldn't remember just a minute ago. They play tonight at 7 p.m. on ESPN 2 as well. And finally, the NASCAR race is about to begin, so I'm going to try to give some updates as the race goes on. So, and then finally, last two things I want to talk about. The NHL Stanley Cup Finals ended last Sunday night in Nashville, Game 6, and then last Monday night, Game 5, the NBA Finals wrapped up when the Golden State Warriors put the Cleveland Cavaliers to rest, if you ask me, just because that whole series was dominated by the Golden State Warriors. They won it in 5 games, obviously, 4 games to 1, but the games that they won, the 4 games that they won, they blew them out pretty bad. LeBron became the first MVP to lose 5 NBA Finals. He became the fourth NBA player to lose in the NBA Finals, but he was the first MVP. And with how good LeBron James is, or some people say he is, it's a little devastating, I think, just because of how good he is, how people compare him to Michael Jordan, and for him to lose 5 NBA Finals, 2 in the last 3 years, 3 in the last 4, if I'm not mistaken, when he was still with the Miami Heat, going back to summer 2014 when they lost the Spurs in his last year at the Heat. So it's just a little devastating, I think, if you ask me, for him. I don't like LeBron, so I'm happy that the Cavs lost, to be honest with you. But that's just my opinion. So I'm gonna backtrack just a tad. NHL Stanley Cup Finals. I'm just going to give you the scores for Game 3 through 6 because it's been over a week since it's been over. So Game 3, the Preds won 5-1. Penguins were up 2-0. So the Preds were still down 2-1, but they got back in the series. Game 4, they also won 4-1 to tie the series on, so it's tied 2-2. But then it went back to Pittsburgh for Game 5. It was the game Pittsburgh scored a couple goals, and they scored 1 goal in the first 20 seconds of the game. I forget what it was, but they won 6-0. And then Game 6 last Sunday night, the Penguins won by a score of 2-0 to win the 2017 Stanley Cup trophy, and won back-to-back Stanley Cup championships now. First team to do that in a while. Maybe a three-peat next year. We'll have to see. Marc-Andre Fleury left. He played all right in the playoffs when they needed him to, but Matt Murray, he's a goaltender, for the future, I think. He's won 2 straight Stanley Cups, so we'll have to see how all that plays out too. It'd be good to go out and sign a veteran goaltender because, as I said, Fleury's gone. He's more than likely going to be the newest member of the Las Vegas Golden Knights by the end of the week. And that would be good for them because they'll need, for a brand new team, expansion team in the NHL, they're going to need some veteran leadership. And Fleury's already won one Stanley Cup back in 2009 with the Pens when they defeated the Red Wings. And it's just Fleury, I think he got run out of Pittsburgh a little bit, but Murray he was playing better than him anyway. So it's just how things work out. But as I said, last Sunday night, Game 6, 0-0 for like the first 58 minutes, and Pittsburgh scored with about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left, and then they got an empty netter with about 20 seconds left, and they won their second straight Stanley Cup. So congrats to the Pittsburgh Penguins, my favorite hockey team, so I'm happy. And then I'm happy as well that LeBron and the Cavs lost in the NBA Finals. They lost to the Golden State Warriors, as I said, in 5 games. Game 2, Warriors won by a score of 132-113. Game 3, they also won 118-113, so they went up 3-0 in the series. As I said, NASCAR is going on. We got a caution already on lap 7 of 200 at the Michigan race today. So Kyle Larson's in first, Mark Truex Jr. is in second, and Kyle Busch rounds out the top 3. And then Game 4, going back to the NBA Finals, was a must-win for the Cleveland Cavaliers at home, and they really blew out the Warriors. It was Friday. It would have been Friday, June 9th. It was Friday, June 9th when Game 4 was, and they won by a score of 139-116. And then Game 5 was this past Monday night, 6 nights ago, and the Warriors won by a score of 129-120 to win their second NBA title in 3 years. They lost last year to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And as I said, LeBron, first NBA MVP to lose 5 NBA Finals. Kevin Durant, he won the Finals MVP due to the fact he averaged 35.2 points per game, 8.4 rebounds per game, and 5.4 assists per game. And then the Warriors, with winning the title this year in 2017, second in 3 years, as I said, they won their 5th NBA title. They won some back in the 60s and 70s, and they joined the Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Bulls, and the San Antonio Spurs for the only teams to have 5 NBA championships. I'm backtrack just a tad, I forgot to say something. The 2017 NHL Draft is this Friday night from Chicago. The New Jersey Devils have the first overall pick. We'll have to see who they take come Friday night. And then to wrap things up before I cut this, start a new video to give you my predictions for WWE Money in the Bank, which is later tonight. The 2017 NBA Draft is also this weekend. It's only on Thursday night, though. The NHL Draft is Friday and Saturday. NBA Draft this Thursday night, June 22nd, 7 p.m. ESPN. And the Boston Celtics, up till 10 p.m. last night, had the number 1 overall pick. And we got some breaking news. Paul George tells the Indiana Pacers he plans to become a free agent this summer, and we'll have to see if he signs with either, say Boston, the Los Angeles Lakers, who have the number 2 pick, or maybe San Antonio, maybe Cleveland, maybe New York, but we'll have to see. But as I said, the NBA Draft, Saturday night, Celtics had the number 1 pick up until about 10 p.m. last night when they decided to trade the number 1 pick to the Philadelphia 76ers for the number 3 pick in this year's draft and a first rounder in either 2018 or 19. They'll have to work that out. And then the reports are saying that they're going to select Markelle Fultz, the guard from Washington. But we'll have to see about that come Thursday night at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Again, I'm Luke Godissart. This is Across the Goal Line. I'm going to be right back to give you my predictions for WWE Money in the Bank. So just hold on a second. Stay tuned. I'll be back momentarily.